All right, guys, here we are. We are live. Mr. Jerry Norton, how in the heck are you doing, brother?
Awesome. Good to be here. This is fun, man. I'm really excited for the conversation we're going to have today.
This is going to be some fun stuff, guys. We're excited to be doing this. We're here to, we were on the phone just the other day, and we're like, how do we share something that's going to be of value? How can we help as many people as possible? And we came down to the same thing, which was interesting. Whenever you talk to someone, they're doing consistent deals, they're doing a ton of deals, there's always something in common, and that is they are always having conversations. So we want this time with you guys to be all about the different types of conversations that you need to be having so that you can win. Anything you want to add to that, Jerry?
It's we like to call it quality conversations. I mean, in my mind, any conversation is better than no conversation, but ideally we're focusing on quality conversations. And there's so many different people in the whole circle of the business, right? From the buy side to the sales side, and everywhere in between. So really owning that is like the key to wholesaling. I think you and I both agree that the most successful wholesalers that I know, Cody, you one of them, the idea of talking to people, especially on the phones, it's so intertwined into your existence and into your everyday life that it's just a way of being. And that's really where we want to get, especially in the beginning, because I don't know about you, Cody, but for me, I was awkward. I didn't know what to say. I felt like an idiot. All of those things happened. I felt like I'm messing up, and they think I don't know what I'm doing because I didn't know what I was doing, and all those things that come into play and are very real concerns. But we want to get to a point where this just happens like a natural process, right?
That's 100% right. Look at all these fun little comments coming in. We've got a ton of active eyes in here, Jerry. Fun stuff. Yeah. Let's get right to this. Here's the best one I saw, and I'm going to put them on again. Watch this. Get ready. This looks like, do you remember back in the day, there was that Jerry Springer, and it's like, Jerry. And it's just like a big old beat up festival. All right. This is going to get good, guys. Guys, I'm excited to be here. Jerry and I felt like it was going to be a pretty special night with you guys. And really, this is all about you guys. So notice that we are going to be doing a live Q&A. So we're going to get to as many questions as possible. Know that we have, I know we don't have unlimited time, but we're going to do the best we can, guys, to serve you at such a high level. Make sure that you guys feel the love, but ultimately that you get some action out of this and really use it, place it into your business, and see your business take off. This is the big hope, the big Christmas wish for me and Jerry is that this live doesn't go in vain, that it's something that you hopefully came here with maybe questions on your mind, maybe some of your biggest stucks, maybe some of your biggest struggles, your challenges with wholesaling in general. And hopefully if you have that, what are you here for? You're going to be able to hear the answer during this. We're going to be talking about a lot of different conversations that if you can just apply these principles, you're going to see them work in your business. And that's something I'm certain of. So let's get right into it, Jerry. I'm super excited to be here again. This is going to be fun. So should we start taking some questions right out of the gate?
I mean, there's all kinds of questions that aren't even, super tied to the topic that you and I wanted to talk about. So we could focus on a little bit of that right now. Or we could come back to that kind of towards the end. Okay. I kind of maybe we spend a little bit of time and cover, some of these things that, yeah. And what I want to be careful of, Cody, is that we don't get too granular down in the weeds, because we've got some free resources where you can, get that stuff, like the word for word scripts. We want to give those to you guys. But really big picture, I think personally or one of the big takeaways that's been transformational in my business is this belief that wholesaling is more a science than an art, or the more we can make it a science and the less an art, then the more we can really start to automate, and we can start to, have specific ways of doing things and processes that then when you repeat them and you're consistent, now all of a sudden you start to see those results happen again and again and again. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things to take away when it comes to, on the phones, whether it's with sellers, cash buyers, agents, whoever it might be.
Yeah.
That you've got the right overarching philosophy of what you want to accomplish on those calls. And then it's really a matter of making sure you're getting that information you need on that call, that you're doing all those important steps, but that you're also finding your own voice, and that you're being authentic, and that you're building rapport, and you're doing kind of the unspoken nonverbal things that are really a big part of it. I mean, how would you kind of describe that process?
100% agree with you. In fact, you'll see, and in fact, when we go with what he just asked, I'll get right to this. You're going to see two different sides of this coin. You're going to see that Jerry could be doing some things one way, and I may do something one way, and you're going to see how they both actually go well together. But I love this because, guys, we're dear friends. Like we're going to see some things that I'll be like, hey, I might approach it like this. And so when we get to those questions, get ready. You're going to hear both sides, which is going to be really cool. But Jerry, I think one of the things, like coming back to having these quality conversations, making sure you're talking to the right people, making sure you're asking the right questions. It is said by one of my favorite mentors. He says your quality of life determines the quality of your question. Like your quality of questions determines your quality of your life. So think about that. The quality of your business is going to be determined by the quality of the questions you ask. And that's very crucial when it comes to these conversations. So maybe where I start off with, and we can go either or to start on this, where do you suggest conversations are most likely to start when you're getting involved in wholesaling? I have like a starting point that I think I love. I'd be curious to see what you do, and then I'll throw it my way, and we'll tell you where to start, so they can see right from the beginning what kind of conversations should they be having when they're starting just a wholesale business.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. In fact, maybe I'll take the agent one, because those of you that kind of follow me on the channel, you see that I do a lot of deals where they're on market with agents. And one of my favorite things, Cody, about Onmarket is because there's the gatekeeper between you and the seller, the agent, and obviously the property's for sale. We can automatically kind of get past some of those initial things like, is your property for sale? Why do you want to sell your property? It's like already for sale, right?
Yeah.
And so, but what I like to do that's a little different than with how we handle private sellers is I'll lead out by saying, what can you tell me about this property? What can you tell me that's going on about this property for sale? And then immediately that kind of puts me in the driver's seat. So I'm kind of leading this conversation. And what it does is it gets that agent hopefully to open up, start to share information. And do
you feel like agents will open up if you're not an agent, you're not being represented by an agent? Do they ask you, like, are you represented by anyone? I mean, are there any of these little gate questions that they try to get you down before they really start to open up to you?
Yeah, well, my strategy is to go directly to the listing agent unrepresented.
Yeah.
So right away, you want to say, I'm an investor. I'm interested in making a cash offer on this property, and I want to work directly with you. You'll, if you can, represent me, so you get both sides of the commission.
Yep.
Now you really got their attention. Yep. And then it's like, okay, what can you tell me about what's going on? And you may already know everything you need to know, right? It's on market. You can comp it. You can see pictures. Like, you already know mostly what you need to know.
Yeah.
But it's just such a powerful way to just start that conversation and get that agent talking and sharing. And some agents don't tell you much, and some agents just like tell you the whole story. And I mean, they just give you everything you need to know about the property and the motivation and why it's for sale and what, all the details about what's going on. So that's just like right out of the gate. That's like my first thing I'll do with an agent is I'll just lead out with that question. What can you tell me about this property? As just a great place to start that whole conversation.
I love it. I love it. Guys, on a very front end, like when I tell people, like, you're getting involved in wholesaling, guys, entrepreneurship, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. But I always tell people this. So I want you to learn from this. Why we get to this conversation part is, I hear all the time how hard someone's job is, their 9 to 5. I hear how hard that they don't have time with their family. They don't get that vacation time they're looking for. They're not making the money that they know they're capable of making. And they tell me how rough it is, how tough it is. And then sometimes I hear the side like, oh, I don't know if I can do quite that though. I don't know if I can jump into wholesaling. I don't know if I can be an entrepreneur. It sounds hard. But guys, here's the thing I'm hearing is both sides are hard. Yeah. And so I want you to tonight have open minds, open eyes, open ears to pick your hard, because they're both going to be hard. But there's one that leads to regret. There's one that leads to maybe remorse or anger. And there's one that could lead to a life of your dreams, a life that's worth living, a life that puts a smile on your face, a life that allows you to create memories. And that, my friend, is entrepreneurship. And so our conversations, when I'm usually talking to someone that's just getting into it, I like to start with like the end in mind. And I always like to make sure some of the puzzle pieces are in place. And I love talking to cash buyers. I love building a massive cash buyers list. I like this thing so big that people are like, why do you need that many? Like, you could have just 10 good cash buyers that you just pass these deals on. And I'm not that guy. I like the one that I want to make sure that I have as many sets of eyes, that if I'm going to be spending marketing dollars, that if I'm going to be finding properties, I want to make sure that I am pushing that deal out to as many eyes as possible, because the more eyes that are looking at my properties, the bigger the assignment fee becomes, the more money that I make per deal. Now you might think about like, oh man, you're not leaving any meat on the bone for the cash buyers. Guys, that's not my problem. Yeah. They make an offer to buy my deal at what they're willing to pay. I don't coerce anyone and tell anyone what they have to pay me for the deal. They agree upon a deal that they're willing to pay. And so build that as big as possible. And some of the best ways, let me tell you some of the conversations that I have. And just an easy one is you can definitely do it by Facebook. There's easy methods of doing that. But let me share just one that I think what happens over time, you need to be having some FaceTime with your cash buyers. And I believe Jerry would also say that with your agents. The more you can build that relationship, the more you can build that rapport, and actually that they see that, man, that's someone that if I do come across this scenario, I do want to do business with that person because they seem like a good dude. With your cash buyers, I know with COVID-19, some of it's limited by going to your RIA groups or things like that. But when those come up, guys, this too shall pass. I love having those face-to-face conversations, and it may look something like this. When I go check in at the counter, I'm literally going to ask Susie at the front desk. And I'm just going to be like, hey, Susie, by the way, Jerry is thebomb.com. This guy has number 10 on the way. Number 10, guys, kids on the way. I had to throw in the towel at 4. This shows you how good of a man Jerry is. And I'm glad he could be here. Which one's this one?
This here is number 8.
Number 8. Number 8. What's your number? Or what's your name?
What's your name?
I'm 8.
No, you're number 8. You're not 8. What's your name? Shorky. His name is Christian, but his nickname is Shorky.
Shorky.
So that's what he said.
Like number 8. No, it really is. My dad calls me number 8. So when I'm out talking at these RIA groups, guys, my conversations right out of the gates, when I talk to the person that's checking me in at those RIA groups, usually it's like, someone there, let's call her Sally. I'd go up to Sally and I'd say, hey, Sally, who in this audience, like who could you point to that you know buys homes, like fix and flips homes? And they're going to be like, oh, Jerry over there fix and flips homes. And so what I'll do is I'll literally walk over to Jerry and I'll say, hey, Jerry, Sally over here, and I go by referral because those work the best. Sally over here says I need to meet you. What is it that you do? And Jerry's going to be like, oh, I fix and flip homes. And you're going to be like, oh, that's probably why she wanted me to come over. I actually find off-market, deeply discounted properties. I want to let you know about them. Let me know. I'll let you know about my next deal. Can I add you to my cash buyers list? And they're going to be like, oh my gosh, let me know about it, right? Hey, Jerry, before I go, do you know anyone else that does fix and flips? And they're going to be like, oh, John over here. I'm going to go over to John and I'm going to be like, hey, Jerry over here said I need to come over here and meet you. What is it that you do? And you're able to go now off of referral base. They're going to literally be like, ooh, if Jerry sent him over here, this guy must be a good dude. And they start talking and they without fail will give you. But what you're doing is you're establishing that rapport so that when you do send out a deal to your cash buyers, they're going to be activated. They're going to be like, oh, that's that guy that came over, or that's that girl that came over and introduced themselves to me. And I just felt something good about them. So that's some of the easy ways, but those are some of the crucial conversations that we're talking about when we say the people that are doing the most deals consistently are the ones that are having the most conversations. We've already talked about some of the little things like with agents and now with cash buyers. Anything else you want to add to any of those two, by the way?
Yeah. So, going back to agents, and then we can talk about private sellers, but one of the reasons why I love the agent model so much is because I do exactly what you just described with your cash buyers, which is every time you're talking to those agents about their particular listing, you're also saying, hey, when you get a deal like this, that's like a cash only type of situation or a distressed seller situation, call me before you list it. You can still earn the full commission. We can build that into the deal, but call me before you go public and let's work out deals with your sellers. And, and so then what that does is if you create that kind of ongoing relationship, now every one of those agents, they put you on their investor speed dial, their cash buyer investor referral network, right? And then they start calling you. Pretty soon, you've got agents calling you with their pocket listings, and it becomes very powerful. And all of that is free, right? Because you're not paying to market. The agents are bringing their leads to you with their private sellers. So, I mean, we can have those same conversations with private sellers as well. Like, hey, who else do you know that might want to sell their property? Or do you have any other properties that you want to sell? Like that's been happening a lot.
Any other agents in the brokerage or anything else?
Right. Yeah. I mean, right now, one of our big private seller leads that we're doing is divorce. And unfortunately, the divorce rates are up because of COVID.
Yep.
I mean, they're up anyway. Like, what is it? 50% of people divorce. So, in this situation, usually there's property involved that they've got to liquidate to settle. And in some cases, what we're finding is they own 2 or 3 rental properties. Now those need to be sold to settle divorce. And so we're getting multiple properties out of divorce leads just by asking, hey, we'll take a look at everything you've got. What else do you have?
Yeah.
And then it just starts to kind of build from there and snowball into that referral business.
I love it. Just to give a quick little case study right out of the gate, guy, because you might think, how long does this take? I think that's probably a fair question is, how long does it take though to build these relationships and actually turn them into something where they can actually turn into a deal? We had a gentleman that was just strictly like a relationship manager is what we basically called that title, that came on. And we just paid them $15 an hour just to strictly just call agents, to just strictly build our cash buyers list, build the relationships of all these pieces that we need that were crucial. But it's not always necessary that you're the one having to do it, but it is crucial for your business. And so we ended up doing, it wasn't our first deal, but it was probably under our top 10 deals, our first 10 deals. We ended up doing a deal where an agent referred us a deal. And I can still remember this like as yesterday. The street was Space Rama. I can remember the whole thing about this. We go out there, and that deal ended up being a $34,000 deal. Now, 15 deal, let's say the top 15 deals, the first 15 deals we did, we got another one from an agent that ended up being a $70,000 assignment. So when I say, when Jerry's talking about how crucial it is to work with agents, super crucial, because they're the free ones. They're the ones that you don't have to advertise for. They're not the ones that you have to send out direct mail to, or the ongoing cost of pay-per-click. Now, guys, all these channels are great, but these are free. These are referrals. This is the greatest source you can get to bring in deals. And so I want you to look at, if it's not going to be you, if you're thinking, man, I just don't have enough time in the day to be calling agents, I also hope you learned something from what Jerry's been sharing, that it's worth it then to find someone that can be managing this relationship. This is what their job title is going to be, that they're the ones reaching out to agents 24/7. Think about that. If you could just do that 10 hours a day, 20 hours a day for a part-time person, or 20 hours a week, part-time person, right? Think about what would that look like? And don't you think you could make that money back in just one deal that would cover more than their salary for the whole entire year?
Yeah, or even if they're on commission, like an acquisitions person, where you teach them the formula, your buy formula, and you have them go after distressed on-market properties where they call the listing agents. You agree to pay them a commission, 10, 15, whatever percent, 20% of the wholesale fee that you earn on the deal if you get a deal done. And now you create an army of finders. I like to call them just an army of finders that are out there looking for deals for you. And, that's another powerful way to start getting, more, I call it lines in the water. I like to look at wholesaling like deep sea fishing.
Yeah.
I chartered a boat with my dad and brothers, and we went deep sea fishing in Mexico. And, you got the captain and then the guides, and the guide's job is to keep lines in the water, right? So when you reel one in, immediately they hand you another pole and they got the line back in the water, because the more lines in the water, the more fish you catch. And I'm seeing some of the comments. One of the things I talk a lot about, Cody, is this goal to have where you make 5 offers a day, and you get to a place where you're consistent about that, so 5 offers a day, 5 days.
Is that strictly to agents, homes on the MLS, or is this
offers,
regardless?
However you're farming for leads.
Yep.
And that's a minimum, right? So I feel like if you can get to a place where you're doing 5 offers a day, and they don't all have to be written, like it can be verbal.
Yep.
Ideally written, but verbal is okay too.
Yep.
Because the point is you're putting a number in front of a seller or an agent or somebody. And if you just do that enough times at the end of the month, you're going to land a deal. It's just a numbers game now. Like I honestly believe you can have no skills, follow some basic formula on your offer price, right? And just make 100 offers in a month and you will land a deal. I mean, it's just, someone's going to say yes to that number.
Yeah.
So
I was just thinking this related to like a tip Tuesday that I usually every Tuesday I do some kind of a tip.
Yeah.
This relates to the one today. And I sit here and think of, this was something I need to learn right when I got into the game, is I would look at like the pain I was in, right? Like I look at like, oh man, this isn't working. This isn't working. Guys, the secret to all of our action, to all of our activity that we're doing each and every day, the secret is to not judge the results that you're feeling right now, like the moment you're in right now. Don't judge the results for the action you're taking right now, because the results you're actually experiencing right now came from like action from 30, 60, 90 days ago. It's not what's happening right now. In fact, the action you're taking today, you're probably not going to see the fruits of it for 30, 60, 90 days into the future. So it's crucial to just remember, when something's going bad in your business, don't look at what you're doing or not doing right now. Look at what you did or didn't do 30, 60, 90 days ago to really find the real answer of what went on, because you're experiencing it right now, but it's actually stuff you did in the past. So when Jerry's saying make these 5 offers every single day or 100 offers in a month, this is something that if you don't experience success on month 1, don't give up. Mm-hmm. If you don't experience success on month 2, don't give up. You are building indeed a pipeline. And at some point, some of these things are going to come to fruition, and you're going to see the fruits of all that action you take, but it's going to be in the future. So I also want to say, when whatever we're sharing today, give it time, commit to a minimum of 3 months, if not 6 months, on the action that we're going to give you today, so that you can actually see it work in your behalf. The hardest 6 months of an entrepreneur's journey is the first 6 months, because you're building that pipeline. And so
it takes momentum. It's like that with everything, right? So you got to build that momentum, start wherever you're at, but just make that your goal. I kind of look at, like Cody, I look at all the different things in the business that you could do. And a lot of those things are important, right? Of all the things you could do, until you get to your 5 offers a day or whatever your goal is, until you get to that point, you really aren't being effective, because none of it means anything if you're not putting a number in front of a person every single day. Until that point happens where you say, hey, seller, hey, agent, here's my number, here's my price. Until that happens, you'll never progress to a contract. You've got to get to that point where you're putting a number in front of somebody. And so you got to look at it like, I kind of look at it like, once I get my 5 offers in, it really doesn't, now I can do whatever else I want to do. I can work on my website, or I can work on my scripts, or I can work on my analyzing, or get my, whatever it is that you're thinking is important to do. It's not. Yeah. The most important thing you can do is, however you got to get there, get to those offers. So like, I kind of look at it like, you start your day, what do you got to do to get to your 5 offers a day that day? And
time block, do you put that at a certain time? Do you find it beneficial? Is it like, whenever I have space, I know I'm going to fill that space, and it's just random throughout the day? Or do you have like specific knowledge behind when you actually do these offers?
Well, the nice thing is if you follow, so kind of what the way I approach it is, I really want to go after Onmarket, because that's free. It's work, but it's free. Yeah. And I really want to go after Offmarket, but Offmarket, once you turn those channels on, you don't have total control over when leads come in. But when they do come in, you got to kind of like get on them, right?
It's urgency.
So,
urgency.
You have days where there not a single lead comes in, and then another day where 25 come in, and you're like, whoa, I'm slammed all of a sudden. Yeah. And that's just the nature of Offmarket, because of how marketing works, right? When your direct mail hits, boom, the phones ring. So it's just part of it. But so the way I teach my team and the way we do it is when those off-market leads come in, especially depending on how qualified they are, because we'll pre-qualify them, then we kind of stop whatever else you're doing and get on those, right? Because you need money, so you want to get on those.
And are most of these right there in your backyard, or are most of these offers in different markets?
Different markets, yeah, but it works in your backyard or remote, however you do it.
Yep.
But we kind of like, okay, an off-market lead came in from PPC or cold calling or whatever. Let's get on that right now. Like 5 minutes after that thing comes in, you better be on the phone on that lead. Yeah. But all the in-between time, we fill that space with Onmarket, which is now we're just calling on distressed properties. So we've got our searches set up. We've got, in whatever markets you're in, you can set up automated searches where you get notified when those distressed properties come available.
Yeah.
And we target brand new ones. So we go after them right when they get listed, but we also go after stuff that's been sitting out there for a year that's just sitting there overpriced, so that then becomes the free filler space when you're working your private seller leads. If you're doing what I do, which is both, right? And then what that does is there's no reason why you can't be on the phones, because if you've got no budget, no marketing budget, I tell people just go after Onmarket, right? It doesn't cost anything, just go after them.
Sure.
If you can start to implement a marketing budget, now start going after private leads.
Yep.
Money now. Right. And there's a whole lot more moving steps.
So here's the rebuttal, right? I know you've heard this a million times, but Jerry, we're in a bull market. Like the homes are just selling for whatever people pay. Like they're just going up higher and higher. You're telling me I can find deals right now on the MLS?
Oh, sure. So an hour before this call, Cody, and I'll probably make a video out of it because anytime I pick up the phone, I turn the camera on for some reason. But the lead comes in and it's like a 165 neighborhood. The seller wants 145. We talk it through.
Yeah.
Say, look, I go through kind of like, she was analytical, so then I'm analytical. So she's telling me, hey, there's a comp here and a comp here. And I'm like, oh, you want to talk comps? Okay. I got them all up right now on Zillow.
Yeah.
Did you see this one? Did you see this one? Did you see this one? And I showed her 5 comps that are identical to her house that are selling that sold at 165. And she wants 145.
Yeah.
And, it needs a bunch of work. And she's like, look, I don't want to go on market. My house is so messy. It needs a bunch of work.
Yep.
So I'm like, look, I would recommend you go on market. I would recommend you hire a real estate agent. You're going to have to fix some things. You're going to have to clean the place up. I mean, it was a mess. She sent pictures. Yeah. It's a mess. You're going to have to do all these things. You're going to have to pay commissions, but you could probably get more than I can pay you in cash right now. If you want to talk to me about a totally hassle-free sale, like no closing fees, as is, you just move, close when you're ready, we can have that conversation. Do you want to have that conversation? She's like, yeah, that's what I want. And I said, then I need to be around 100,000 on your property for it to be that, because I'm going to spend the money fixing it up and putting it up for sale and paying commit. I'll do all of that. And she's like, you know what? I think I was thinking 145, but I really don't want to go through all of that. That sounds pretty good, actually. Let me, so now we're like, okay, let's get your husband on the phone, but that's where we're at. And so that's in a hot market right now. I know that I can turn that house as is the way it is for 145, 140, somewhere in there. I mean, I've got a sweet deal at 100,000 and it's solving her problem. She knows she's giving it up for a lot less, but she wants the hassle-free of cash. So here we are, right? In a hot market.
So it's coincidence, or not coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. So Jerry, the same thing. So my business partner, Mark, he was doing a training out here, and he wanted to take a seller lead live. So this is one we kind of pre-qualified through our acquisition managers. And Mark wanted to give like an example of what this looks like. And so we're talking about the now conversation with sellers. So Jerry just did an awesome example, guys. This is going to be something that obviously lives on forever on YouTube, Facebook. You're going to watch exactly what he just said and want to jot those things down. But Mark was just sitting there on the phone and he's talking to this individual. And what's nice is you really want that playback, right? You want that, like, you show the interest, but you can't also have them have full authority of the whole entire transaction. And so there's always those little things of like takebacks and little ways of takebacks. I refer to linemen. I had a neighbor that was a lineman. A lineman, not talking NFL football. I'm talking linemen like the people that go up on the power lines. And they'll have those spikes in their feet and they'll climb up, right? And the rookies, when their feet slip, they grip the pole, which is a no-no. You'll literally just slide down the pole, get slivers, and then break your tailbone at the bottom. But the veterans that have been doing it a long time, they pull back because there's a leather strap that goes around the pole. When they pull back, it slows them down and stops them until they can get their grip back in. So how do we apply that principle? When people are like, yeah, I don't know if I could do, like, had that conversation gone a little bit different for Jerry, I can't do 100,000. Like, I need 145,000. That's where, instead of trying to chase them, what happens when you chase a dog? It runs. But what happens when you run away from the dog? The dog usually will chase you. So you have to say, hey, and it could be, and Jerry nailed this, guys, it could be that I'm not the best fit for this.
Yeah.
It could be that listing this with an agent is the one that makes most sense for you.
Yeah.
And listen, she let down her guard.
In fact, we know a really good listing agent who can take care of that for you. And now we get a referral fee. So we still make money on the deal.
Yep.
Like I make a lot of money referring because I'm licensed. You can do that. If you're licensed, you can do that, which is a good reason to get licensed.
Yep.
But I look at it like, hey, if you want retail or if you want Zillow, no problem. You should go for it. Here's what, and then I'm transparent. I say, here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to hire a real estate agent and pay commissions. Here's what that's going to look like. You're going to have to clean the place up. You're going to have to probably fix some things and spend some money on it. You're going to have to be available for showings and make it show ready. It's probably going to take you anywhere from 90 days to 6 months, to get the whole thing done. But if you did all of that, you could probably walk away with more money, and then you roll into your pitch with your cash offer. And all you're doing is you're letting people who are motivated come forward. Like they're coming forward. You're not forcing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to getting to have those conversations with cash buyers, here's one, let me put up there, because I think this talks about a little bit more into your cash buyer or your conversations with sellers. Mary has an awesome question here. Could you deep dive how you are searching for on-market distressed properties? Yeah. Are you doing that through MLS? Are you doing that through Zillow? Like, what is your strategy so that you can begin to have those conversations? How do you know it's a distressed property so that you actually want to call? Are you calling all properties, or are you niching it down to just distressed properties?
Yeah. So great question. So Mary, just distressed properties, and I'll show you how to do it. So, and I'll put links to these 2 videos in the description below. But if you have Redfin in your market, Redfin has a feature now. It's fairly new. It's called Fixer Upper. So you can search your market under active, right? And you go over to the filter, click more filter, and there's a tab there you'll see called Fixer Upper. Checkbox that. And what Redfin has done, which is genius, is they basically scan all of the listings and they look for keywords in the description, like TLC, fixer upper, investor, cash buyer, whatever. And then it puts those in that list. So then save that search and tell Redfin, notify me immediately when a fixer upper property comes available. Okay, so now there's not a ton of them, but they're there. Yeah. Now what you do is when you're going to get an email notification when a brand new listing comes out. And then my goal is when those come out in my markets we watch, we treat that very much like a private seller lead that just came in. And we're on the phone talking to the listing agent, double dipping. So they're getting both sides of the commission. And then what we're trying to do is we're trying to say, here's my number, go talk to the seller. Let's lock this up in the next hour and cancel all your showings. Right? That's my goal. Now, all the stars have to align, but you do that 100 times a month, you're going to do deals. It's going to work. Right. So that's one way. Zillow does not have that fixer upper search feature. So what we've done is we created a master list of keywords. I'll give this to you for free. In fact, Cody, we can add this to the list, but it's like, I've got dozens, probably over 100 motivated seller keywords that we use for Zillow. So on Zillow, you have to go in and you have to put the keyword. When you click the more tab on Zillow at the bottom, there's a keyword search. Yep. You put, TLC, investor, fixer upper, whatever, pick one of the words out of my key list.
Rehab.
Yeah. So then you search.
Handyman special.
Handyman special is one of my favorites. And then it's going to do the same thing that Redfin automatically does, because the problem is Redfin is not in every market. So the first thing people are going to say is, shoot, Redfin's not in my market. Well, you can do it on Zillow. It's a little bit more work because now you got to search by keyword, but it does essentially the same thing. In fact, get your virtual assistant. If you guys aren't using VAs, do it yourself. But you're doing $5 an hour work now. but you can save all those searches under all of those keywords in Zillow, and then it will automatically notify you when those come out. So, I mean, right now, everybody can do what I just talked about there with Zillow or Redfin, and you can be on the phone chasing Onmarket in a very strategic way because you're going to get notified as soon as they get listed.
Yeah. How do you satisfy an agent when they ask for proof of funds?
Yeah, great.
I don't have a buyer yet.
So that's very common. Onmarket, they want proof of funds, and they also want earnest money. So those are two nuances to Onmarket that we don't really deal with private. With private, we never give proof of funds because they don't even know to ask for it.
That's
and
right.
we probably never do earnest money, right? Like maybe $10 to $100, if that.
Yep.
But not on market, agents are going to want to see proof of funds, and they're going to want to see usually $500, $1,000 in earnest money. So you got to deal with that. Now, if you're in my Flipster system, we give proof of funds, unlimited proof of funds. It's a letter, and for 90% of agents, it works. Like they're happy with that. Now, some aren't, and they want like a bank statement or something, but then you got to just deal with that picky agent. But that's a really easy solution. Is if you're in my software, you automatically get those.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're right. You're going to need to show proof of funds in some form or another. As far as earnest money, because that's the other big one that goes with Onmarket. One of the strategies that I teach that doesn't always work, but if you don't have the $500 earnest money, then you can put in your contract or tell the agent to put in the contract earnest money due upon completion of inspection.
Yeah.
Then put a 10-day inspection in your contract.
Yep.
Now your earnest money isn't due for 10 days. And then what we do is we find our cash buyer in those 10 days.
Yep.
We basically use their earnest money to pay our earnest money, and then it works, right? So, I mean, ideally though, if you think about it, I mean, Cody, I don't know about you, but we spend anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 per contract in marketing for Offmarket.
Yes.
So if you're sitting here going, hey, there's some challenges with Onmarket, yeah, there are. But if you're having trouble coming up with $500 for earnest money on an Onmarket, you're screwed with Offmarket because you got to spend money on Offmarket.
That's right.
That's right. In front of people. So you're kind of dead in the water, no matter what, if you don't have any capital to work with at all. So,
and
so you just
got to say, Jerry, a lot of times people think they're like, oh, driving for dollars. No. You don't have to spend much dollar. But guys, if you don't value time, that's okay. That's okay. But there is a cost to your time. There's a cost to the gasoline that drives you around to those neighborhoods. And at the end of the day, so if you find an off-market distressed property, what's your method that you're going to get your message in front of them? Are you going to be knocking the door? Are you going to be cold calling? Are you going to be sending a direct mail? What is your method? Because there's a cost to that. Now, guys, I'm not by any way booing the party of on market, off market, because we're 99% off market. That's what we do. But these are fantastic strategies that when you come to the table saying, man, my budget's really tight, I don't know how I'm going to get into the game. I really want to let each one of you know, everyone watching this, whether you're in the game or especially for those that are not in the game, everyone can get in the game. There was a moment where I was a broke insurance agent, guys. I didn't have money to pay our bills. And I came home to my wife stressed out of her mind. I came home early from work. She was crying at the dinner table and she looked up and she says, I don't know how we're going to pay our bills. I don't know how we're going to pay our mortgage this month. I don't know how we're going to put food on the table. Guys, I was in a bad place before I got into wholesaling. Wholesaling changed everything. First and foremost, you have to realize it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. I don't suggest the route that I went for anyone or everyone, but it may work for some people. I ended up getting a credit card and I literally was like, I'm putting faith in the process. I found someone that was doing deals. I learned from them and I just trusted the process and I did it harder than anyone else. I don't lack drive. I don't lack motivation. I'll go out and do anything. It's just, I didn't know what I was doing with insurance. I didn't lack working. I'd do 60, 70, 80-hour weeks and it wasn't sitting playing on my phone. I was busting the chop. Like I was knocking doors. It just wasn't the greatest activity to net the results I needed to be a successful insurance agent. Yeah. So I'm confident to everyone listening to this broadcast, I'm confident if I could get in the game, so can each one of you. And you just got to pick one strategy. You got to look at this like a sniper and shoot one bullet at a time. You cannot be shooting a shotgun where 10% of your BBs hit the target. You must hit your target with like exactness and perfection, just like a sniper, and just pick one strategy. We're going to be talking about multiple ways of having conversations. Just pick one to start out and get going. The only way you're going to get one step closer to your deal is taking that next action. It's going to be imperfect action. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. It's okay. Fail your way forward. Your failures are happening for you. They're not happening to you. They're going to make you better. They're going to sharpen the sword. It's the most perfect scenario for you to be in. You have to make mistakes. Go out there. Don't wait for perfect action. Don't wait for perfect plans. Perfect plans don't exist. And someone willing to take imperfect action is going to outperform the person sitting at home on YouTube University building a perfect plan all day long.
I think part of the challenge, Cody, is that we try to find reasons why things won't work, and we create a lot of limitations for ourselves.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, I mean, anybody could throw any objection at me about why something doesn't work, why Onmarket doesn't work, why private sellers don't work, why this doesn't work, why that, why direct mail doesn't, whatever. And then I would have an instant rebuttal as to a way to solve that problem, right? So what I hope though is if you're right now on the sidelines and you're thinking, well, I can't get into the game because of fill in the blank, just know that there is a way to solve that particular problem where you can get in the game. And the biggest one I see, Cody, is a zero marketing budget, right? I got no money to spend on the business.
And COVID kind of amped that one, right?
Yeah. And that's my limitation. That's what's holding me back. If only I had money for marketing, or if only I had money for an earnest money, or if only I had a proof of funds or whatever it might be, then I could take action. And the reality is Cody started this way. I started this way too. Minimum wage, digging holes in construction. It was underground utility work. It was long days, muddy, hard work, minimum wage work when I started in real estate at 27.
Yeah.
And I had no money. And so, but there are so many ways to still get your start, get your first deal, get your second deal, reinvest as much of that as you can back into your business, into coaching and into leads and marketing, to get that kind of like launch, right? So
Gary, something to throw into that before you hold that thought. I'm looking at it, even my first deal, guys. I JV'd, meaning I found the deal, but I didn't at the time have the biggest cash buyers list. And so a lot of my cash buyers kind of overpassed it. And it made me almost feel like, oh, here I found a deal and none of my cash buyers want it. Here's the thing. It's because I didn't have enough cash buyers looking at it. And just because my cash buyers didn't want it, didn't mean it wasn't a deal, where most times we're going to believe, oh, I put it under contract at too high of a price. Here's the thing. I JV'd. I ended up finding another wholesaler that I just admired right here locally. And I said, hey, I think I've got something. Like, I hope I've got something. He's like, Cody, you've got something.
Yeah.
I'll split it with you 50-50. Be okay with that, guys. I would rather have 50% of something than 100% of nothing. I would have had 100% of nothing had I just canceled the contract because none of my cash buyers wanted it. Instead, guys, I ended up making like $13,000 on one of those deals that I JV'd. And it was game changing. He went on to make even more money than that. And the end cash buyer made a ton of money.
So a cash buyer, not having a cash buyer is never the problem, right? There, you can JV, you can find a buyer for your deal. Like, there's ways to solve that problem if you don't have a buyer. So I think the big point though is like going back to, marketing. I almost feel like, Cody, and maybe you agree with me, I almost feel like someone coming into the business that's new, when they come in with $20,000 that they're ready to dump into marketing, that's the worst thing that could happen to that person, because they're not ready for what's going to happen when they spend that $20,000. They haven't done the things to be ready for the processes and the systems and to close those deals.
Yeah.
Now they just blow money. I see so much money wasted when people are doing it early on. I kind of believe, like, go do a couple deals with zero marketing budget. And when you do that, then you'll be ready for some marketing. And then when you spend your money, spend it wisely, carefully, step it up. Like, don't just dump it all back in, all of it, right? Be careful, be strategic, be methodical, so that you're learning the things you need to learn as you go, without it being really expensive on your marketing budget. And so it's kind of just the overarching belief here is, it's okay. In fact, the not having the connections, the not having the list, the not having the money is actually a blessing for you, because it's going to help you make those tough choices you're just going to learn so much solving that problem of no earnest money or no budget for marketing or how to find free leads or whatever. It's going to force you to be that much better at your business.
Here's something I'm on the same mindset. Gabriel, thanks for sharing this. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way for sure. Here's the thing, guys, why this is not so far from the truth and why this is spot on is I want you to think about what you do have and almost have and I think right now is an awesome time to think of it. I think naturally during November, December, there's this feeling, there's this spirit of gratitude, right? And I want you to think of what you do have and be grateful for what you do have. And how is it that you can be a good steward of the money you currently have and not think about, I don't have enough, or I'm broke, or I can't get in the game because I just don't have the money. I can't financially get into the game. Instead, I want you guys to focus on what you do have and be a good steward of the money that is coming in. Be grateful for the stuff that is in place, because I started in a bad place. But guys, here's what I was also willing to do. We got rid of Dish or DirecTV or Comcast, whatever one you're on. I want you to look at what you currently have that you're willing to put money into and how you could with the income you currently have, what are you willing to put up as a sacrifice for a time being so that you can get in the game, so that you don't have to say in the future, I'm broke, I can't get in the game, I don't have the money for it. Guys, I had to cut back on stupid expenses. I had a TV on the wall that probably should have never been on that wall. I had Xfinity and I had the golf package, the NFL package. I had these little things and I started looking within my current budget and I'm like, no, this is not fair. This is why I'm probably not being blessed with any more income. This is probably why me personally, so I'm not talking for everyone, but for me personally, I had this epiphany that I wasn't succeeding because I wasn't being a good steward of what was already coming in.
Yeah.
I want you to look at your current budget and I want you to look at where can you pull from. If that means don't go on date nights. Well, we have friends that are fun friends and they ask us every week to go to dinner. Well, then tell them no every week, that you can't go, that you already ate. Start brown bagging and go to work with a brown bag with a tuna fish sandwich. Do whatever you can to get in the game. Guys, bless my wife's heart. I got a little chills because this is reality for me. My wife, she sent me a text picture, guys. This is how involved she was and how she was willing to support this effort of getting into wholesaling. She sends a picture of her and two of my kids, and they're smiling and they're sweating. She went 5 miles from our house on a bike with a buggy on the back of it to go pick up a gallon of milk and just some bare essentials for the house. And she had a smile on her face. She didn't take the car. She saved the gas. And she put forth the effort to scrape and get by and just be a good steward of what we've been blessed with, guys. I'm convinced because of these little efforts that me and my wife put in, someone else also helped out and made this work a lot easier. I felt like I wasn't in the game by myself. I had support from my wife and my family, but I felt like I had a higher power support, whether you call that karma, whether you call that life, or whether you call that the universe, I call it God. I felt like because I was being a better steward and actually changing how I got into the game worked for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like Cody, there's a saying I like really a lot that is, pray like it all depends on God and then work like it all depends on you. And I think that's kind of what God expects of us, isn't it? Where, he's not going to give us something we're not willing to put in the effort ourselves to go after. But then when we do that, I think then if your intentions are right and you've got the right reasons, I think you can have God backing you and you can have that blessing in your life. And, I want to tell a quick story, Cody, that recently happened. I had one of my elite mentoring students here. They're at the house here, which I do. And And we were talking, and this is a person that earns a six-figure income, but the job is so demanding. He's not happy. He wants his own business, all of the reasons why you would start a business, right? But he said to me, he said, well, you know what, Jerry, I'm not willing. I don't want to cut back on my standard of living. I want this new business, but I don't want to cut back my standard of living that I currently have. And so I said to him, I said, can I be honest with you? I mean, you're paying me. Can I be honest with you? And he's like, yeah. And I basically said to him, I said, you know, if you're not willing to make huge sacrifices, this is not going to work. You've got to be willing to cut back on a lot of things, which is going to affect your income too right now. Where are you at right now that you're willing to sacrifice to get this off the ground? Because you can't maintain your job the way that you want to, and this income you're earning at your W-2, probably at the same time build up a six-figure, you know, wholesaling business. You're just not going to be able to do the two. You're going to have to make some big sacrifices for a while you build this up. And, you know, you've got to be willing to do that, or you're just coming at it with the wrong attitude, I think. So, you know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of what you were saying, where you said, you know, honey, are we all in on this? And she's like, I'm in. You know, you married up, Cody.
Oh, we both did so bad. It's so good.
So, Cody, if you married up, what does that mean she did?
It's a shame is what she did. Yeah, this is a great point. Somehow I convinced her that she married up as well. Guys, listen, if you want some inspiration right now, look at this. Any advice for a 17-year-old?
Wow.
How amazing, guys. I didn't have this mindset, Jerry. Talk to me. Did you have this mindset at 17?
I'm floored at how many people on my channel are leaving comments and they're like, hey, I'm 17. You know, we had a really funny one where the kid said, hey, I'm 17. My dad said he'd sign for me, and now he's going back on his word. What do? I got a deal.
Yeah.
I said to him, I said, do what my kids do and go ask your mom.
That's fantastic.
But dude, I am excited about this next generation. I mean, I think what I'm seeing right now is you're seeing kids that are like, you know, this educational system's a mess with, like, you know, COVID and Zoom classes, and they're watching YouTube videos and they're thinking about what's my hustle? How can I make a life? And so I'm just so excited to see 17-year-olds wanting to get into this business. Now, you do have a little bit of an issue here where you need to be 17, you need to be 18 to sign a contract, right? But dude, don't let that stop you. You don't
need to be 18 to go work with an investor and start helping him out and finding ways to add value to him so he can add value back to you.
You can bird dog, you can do an acquisition, you can do a sales position with a wholesaler. Go to a wholesaler like Cody and say, hey, give me whatever grunt work you've got. Give me your worst leads. Give me, you know, what do you want me to do? I'll drive for dollars. I'll door knock, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's your door in. Be willing to go. I would recommend to a 17-year-old, go to an established wholesaler in your market and offer
one that you admire and trust, that fits, by the way, more like with morals and everything. Get someone that aligns with your characteristics, your morals.
Wash their car, for crying out loud. Just be around people that are successful and learn as much as you can, so that when you are 18 and you are ready to sign a contract, you're game on, baby. You got it.
100%. So Bryce, besides that, I would say just a personal story that just took place literally 2 days ago. I had an individual that just graduated from high school, and he was asking, hey, Cody, I want your coaching program. And so I literally said, hey, I love you. I love everything about what you're doing. His dad does all my rehabs for me. So his dad is they're just the salt of the earth, incredible family. And I said, I don't want your money, but there's going to be a financial commitment here. I said, I want you to find a family for Christmas, and I want you to bless their lives, someone that needs help, and I want you to go donate money. Whatever's uncomfortable. I don't want it to be a comfortable amount. I don't want it to be $1.25 out of like your lunch change. I want you to get uncomfortable, and I want you to sacrifice. And I'm not going to tell you what the number is, but I want you to go bless a family this year. And in doing so, that'll be your tuition to the course. And he's now going through the course, and he comes in, and he will literally, I would tell my own son this. If my son says, hey, Should I go to college to figure out what I'm going to do? Guys, I'm not going to tell him to go to college to figure out what it does and add 80 grand in debt before he figures out what he wants to do. I'm going to say, hey, son, what is it you want to do? And if he says, I want to be the most incredible marketer, I'd be like, fantastic. I know 5 phenomenal marketers I'm going to reach out to, and I want you to work for that person for free for a whole year. And I want you to give all that. Like, I want you to be such a blessing and value to that company. And then I want you to learn everything from this best person. And after that year, I want you to go off and start your own marketing company. And at that point, I'll help you start your company. I'll help chip into that business and I'll help you start that. That's what I would tell my own son that wants to do it. I wouldn't tell him to go to college. I know some people are going to be like, Cody, you're nuts. College is awesome. It's not my cup of tea. I would say, go find out and figure out, because you may find out, my boy may find out he doesn't like marketing. Well, I'm grateful he didn't get 40 grand of debt to figure out that he didn't want marketing. He just went to work for someone for free. But guys, R&D is no longer research and develop. R&D is rip off and duplicate. I want you to find the best people in the market and rip off and duplicate. That's not, I know it sounds negative because it says rip off, but guys, the successful people are right in front of you. Tony Robbins always says, it's not that we lack resources. It's that we're not being resourceful with the resources that are right in front of us, right under our nose. Find the best in the industry of whatever you want to be in and just rip off and duplicate. Do exactly what they do. And you're going to fast track. Hey, there's a plug for you. You're going to fast track your way right to the top.
Yeah. Hey, are you able to put up a link on the screen, Cody?
Sure.
So for Bryce and anybody else, I guess, but this is really good for kids. I've had my kids go through it, but it's a complete training program. We used to sell it for $1,500. I'll give it away for free. It's 8-week academy, the number 8-week academy.
8.
And academy.com.
Academy.com. So let me make sure I got this right. Look at this. Let me put www. Okay. Check this out. Does that look correct?
8-week academy. That's it. 8-week academy. So Bryce, when you go through that, it's a very detailed training with modules, but every lesson has a quiz. And so then and it's got PDF downloads and everything. So you can take the quiz. And so then it's kind of really great for like homeschool, or if you guys are really wanting to learn the business. And it's a really like great overview of real estate flipping, wholesaling, from like A to Z of the business. So that'd be a great place for you, Bryce, to kind of start if you wanted to, spend some more time on your education and learning. But I love what Cody shared, and my tip would be that as well. And those of you that are like maybe not even 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, college isn't for you, my advice would be similar to what Cody's saying, but also you can line up with these wholesalers. They're in every market, the A+ wholesalers, the rockstar wholesalers that are doing 10, 20 deals a month. Those guys are always looking for their next acquisitions rock star. Now they're going to put you at the bottom and they're going to give you the crap to prove yourself. But you prove yourself and you resurrect some leads, or you keep showing up. Don't make it a 9 to 5, make it a whatever they want. You're going to land that position where now they're putting you in their sales team. You start earning some 10, 15, maybe 20% commissions.
Yeah.
Dude, you close 5 deals in a month making $1,500. You're making 10 times your buddies are at their $40,000 a year W-2 job, right? Yeah. So, and then when you feel really good about the business, you can go to a place where you're like, I'm ready now, and you can go out on your own. But man, that's just such a great place to learn from a pro on their sales team.
100%. We're always looking for them, guys. I'm in the Utah market and Dallas-Fort Worth market. I know Gary's in multiple markets, and I'm telling you, we're always looking for good people that are ready to learn the game with good hearts, ready to serve people with high level of service, and genuinely want to be there to help people get to plan B. Yeah. And if that's you, that's what we hire off of. I don't hire people based off of, oh man, this guy's got this like the tongue of gold. Like this guy can close on the spot. I'm looking for people that are honest, that are charitable, that are loving, that are kind. Yeah, that care for people. And the byproduct is, if you can do that, this wholesaling game's easy. It's us, the wholesaler, that's complicated. Mm-hmm. We got to get out of our own way and don't chase the dollar. Chase serving people and serving people at a high level. And the byproduct is you'll get their home at a deep, deep discount. So
yeah,
that's the secret behind that.
Yeah, and I love that, Cody. I mean, if I'm totally honest and transparent, for a lot of the years in the beginning of my real estate investing business, I was very much driven by the money. Like the money, it was always about the profit margins and how much can I make. And not that I was doing wrong to people, but it really wasn't so much about adding value and blessing lives. And I had a real transitional point in my real estate business where I started to shift that focus more on just that value, add value. And it's amazing how the byproduct with making value first, where my income just skyrocketed without even putting the attention on the income side of it, more on the value side of it. And I think the reason why that happens is, your income is is a direct result of the problems you solve. So the more people you help, the more problems you solve.
Yeah.
Just the natural byproduct is the more money you make.
And Jim Rohn ties it into something more. So like, that's the go-giver, right? Like you're compensated on the value you bring to the world. Jim Rohn says, rarely does an individual's income exceed their level of personal development. So think about that. You want to be a millionaire? Go work on you first and have $1 million mindset and watch what happens. Your income will magically follow exactly your level of personal development. Every now and again, you find a guy that you're like, how in the crap was this guy blessed with this much money? But it usually doesn't last long either.
No, they don't keep it. No.
That's right. It's in, it's out. We call them bottle rockets. They're just, that's it.
You can get to the top on the backs of others, but you can't stay on the top.
That's right.
It's short-lived, right? You want to be on the top, then you gotta be adding value constantly. You gotta be solving problems, and you gotta be doing right to maintain and keep that on the top. Right. So totally.
That's right. Guys, by the way, we always promised a gift here for being here live, and you guys have been here now for about an hour, and we both can't thank you enough for being here. I think this is something that's adding value to your lives. At least we hope it is. I believe there's been some gold nuggets that have been shared here. And so before we keep going, I want to make sure we got this up here because we promised you some gifts. And those are my personal and Jerry's personal scripts for these conversations that we're talking about and how to have these crucial conversations, these quality conversations, whether it's with sellers, whether it's outbound versus inbound, people calling you versus you calling them, different scripts for that, scripts for agents, scripts to build your cash buyers list and what kind of questions you should be asking your cash buyers. So this link is going to lead you to every one of our scripts. We wanted to make sure that I want to make sure that this is up now the rest of the time so you have it, because you guys helped also make this a very quality time together because you're asking some great questions. And just from the last Bryce being inspired myself, like 17-year-old, like, holy smokes, where would I be today if I had Bryce at 17? I didn't get into the game till I was, I think, what am I, 37 minus 5? 32 years old is when I got into wholesaling, guys. So think about think about what he can do and accomplish, and everyone out there that's out there. And it doesn't take long, guys. I've been in the game 5 years, and I seriously can't believe it. It feels like it was just yesterday.
Yeah, it's amazing what you've done, Cody, in the 5 years. I mean, to grow your business at the level it's at is just phenomenal. I mean, congratulations to you for that. That's just great.
We love it. And Jerry, how long have you actually been in like real estate? Because his story is pretty profound when he was just digging trenches with a shovel and being the grunt worker, getting all the crap work.
2021, I'm going to hit the 17-year mark. Yeah. So I part-timed it wholesaling for about a year and then went all in. So yeah, it's going on 17 years. So yeah, it's been a fun journey for sure.
Phenomenal. I'm trying to see if there's any here's one that's inspiring to me, guys. Steve, brother, I want to assure you, 47, I'm just getting started. I can promise you it's not too late. I want you guys to take faith, take hope that it's not too late.
So Cody, I gotta tell you, I've got a handful of seven-figure income earners that have come through my elite program, my fast track program. One of them came through my training at 72. It was a couple years ago. and he's a 7-figure earner right now, doing wholesaling and flips. And he started at 72. I mean, it's just incredible, just amazing. So you're only as old as you feel, right?
Yeah. No, it looks like a lot of people feel better at this. I'm seeing a lot of comments saying, whew, I feel a lot better now. Like, okay, Cody was 32 years old. So I'm seeing this. I see one says I'm 34 and getting started. I'm seeing some great things in here. 72, maybe. Yep. By the picture, it sure doesn't look like it. Otherwise, life has been great to you, my friend.
Oh, he's asking the question, I think. 72 is the question.
Okay.
Yeah. 72 in Fort Worth is his market. Yep.
There you go. Perfect. We have, let's see, where did I just see that? Kimberly, Cody, and Jerry, thank you so much for this valuable information. Kimberly, you're very, very, very welcome. Maybe we'll just do some rapid questions, guys. This is like a free-for-all. So again, you have access now to our scripts. But again, I want you guys to really hone in. Jerry would say the same thing. In fact, he'll probably be saying it is take action. You can't allow yourself to just have it in your hands. These are scripts that we use religiously, guys. When I share this, please know that I don't share this in any boastful or prideful way. I came from being a broke agent to, guys, these scripts that you now have access to from my own and Jerry's. These are the same scripts that allow me to have a 7-figure business where we're going to do just shy of 4 million this year between the 2 markets we're in. We've now franchised into multiple markets. But guys, it wouldn't have started had I not just taken just small, simple action. You go back to Darren Hardy and you think of The Compound Effect. This is probably one of my favorite books. And he talks about it's just the small and simple, consistent action that sets you apart from everyone else. It's not big things. It's not any one big thing that Cody or Jerry's doing. It's that Cody and Jerry are willing to do the small and simple things consistently that no one else is willing to do, that sets the difference, that sets the tone to allow you to do a 7-figure business. And guys, again, I don't share those numbers off of pride or boasting. That's not my style. In fact, no one even knows what I drive, and it's nothing impressive. I don't drive any fancy cars. My wife drives a minivan, for heaven's sakes. Jerry's drives a 12-passenger van, for heaven's sakes.
The Mercedes Sprinter 12-passenger. You know, like you see at the airport. Yeah.
I share this, guys, because you can't get to that point. You can't hope and be like, oh, it's too late. It's not too late. The only thing is too late is not taking action. Like, you have to take action. You're going to have the scripts in your hands to really work through and start using, but they're only as good as you actually acting upon the scripts that are in your hands. They won't do it for you. You're going to have to sound like an idiot. You're going to have to sound really bad on the phone. Someone's going to tell you to pound sand. Someone's going to tell you to F off. Someone's going to tell you these harsh things, and you're going to have to put a smile on your face, because Cody and Jerry said, put a smile on your face. When someone tells you to F off, that's when you put a smile on your face and say, yes, Cody and Jerry told me someone's going to tell me to pound sand. Cody and Jerry told me someone was going to tell me to F off. And guys, if you're not hearing that, it's because you're not making enough phone calls. If you're hearing that, that means you're taking necessary action to get one phone call closer to the person that says, I need your help.
Yeah, I think every no is that much closer to a yes. And one of the things that I like to do, Cody, on the phones is just if you approach the phones, especially when you're calling leads or you're talking to agents, is you have to realize that you're coming at this from a business perspective, right? So we follow a formula. We've got a number. The number is the number, and you've got to feel confident in your number, in the fact that that number is going to work for some people. It's not going to work for most people, and that's just okay. It's not personal. I think what happens is we tend to take rejection personally. This is a personal reflection on me, that the seller's upset and said no, or that the agent told me there's no way you could ever get a deal at that number, or whatever's going on here, right? So we take that personally, and then that means we somehow don't have the value. We somehow are inherently not as good, or we take that rejection to mean that we're failing. And we kind of do all of those things that just, all that does is you don't bring your best self to the phones, and it comes across the line.
100%.
your tonality,
Yes,
that's why when you say smile, your smile comes through the phone.
that's right.
Your confidence, it comes through the phone. So I'll tell you a quick story. I had one time where the seller said to me on the phone, said, "I'm really offended at your offer." Said, "I'm really offended at your low offer." And I said, "Well, I'm really offended at your high asking price." No, I wasn't, right? And then I said, "You're offended, I'm offended. If you want, we can just get past all of that and talk about your property and what works. If it doesn't work, I understand. If it does, here's my number." In other words, he's extremely emotional, but that doesn't mean I have to be emotional. Yeah. I don't need to be emotional in this business. Yeah. I can bring a non-emotional perspective, which is just, I make offers. It's going to work for some people. If it doesn't, that's okay. I'm that much closer to a yes. Get back on the phones and make another offer. And then what happens is you don't burn out. You don't get worn down. You don't get anxiety. You don't get stress. It's just all part of the game, right? It's just another day. It's okay. It's fine.
Okay, guys, let me tell you one thing, because to tell you a script, I saw one in here, a question. It scrolled up so fast that I can't find it again. It was just talking about like one of your favorite questions to have with motivated sellers. So I'm going to give that to you as well as me. Guys, my favorite question is, I don't care about the price. I'm not looking for the price. I'm not going on appointments, or my team is not going on appointments based on price. They're going on all the other things. They're going on like time frame. If someone has to move in 7 days, good chance that a realtor is not going to help them out. If a condition, it's in really bad shape, it has meth in it, good chance a realtor is not going to help them out. Maybe the driver, they're going through divorce, they're behind on their taxes, they're behind on the mortgage, it's a tired landlord that just found out that their tenants not only not paying, but also smoke meth in their house. And then you have price. Price can be a sign of motivation, but more times than none, it's actually a deceiver. What do I mean by that? Everyone wants their highest and best. They all want their highest and best. If Jerry became tomorrow broke and he was in a bad place, he would still want highest and best for his home and do the best thing he could do to get as much money as possible. So I don't let money steer me when it comes to conversation. So my favorite question is, again, I want to find the why. I don't care about the home. I don't care about that it's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I don't care that they had a brand new roof or they need windows or that has good flooring. I really don't care. Like, I jot it down, but I don't care about that. I care about why. Why did they call me on a 38-cent postcard? Why did they reach out to me on a pay-per-click link and fill out a web form? Why did they allow me to have a conversation with them cold calling? Your job here as a wholesaler, guys, is to find the why, not the price. The price is easy. Everyone's going to say the price, and more times than none, they're going to say a price that's not even feasible. So don't have conversations about price. Be more concerned with the why. So my favorite question is this. When you get going through it, you're talking to them, and it's in the script, guys, so you'll be able to use this script, and it'll just be simple. It'll just be like you're talking to them in general, and then about the 6th question on my script, it ends up being like this. Man, Jerry, this looks like a beautiful home. Like, I'll be looking on Google, and I'm on the phone. Jerry, this looks like a beautiful home. Why are you considering selling it? Mm-hmm. And it's more of like almost like a confused question. Why am I asking that question? Because I want to know why. And Jerry's going to come back and say, well, we need to just, we want to put my kid in, I'll tell you a real life scenario. We want to put my kid in another school. Okay. Well, does that tell me if there's motivation or not? No. So I'm like, I just mirror, right? A good book. Let me give you a tip. Never split the difference. Chris Voss. Whoa. Like, you want to learn negotiation? Mirror. Just simply mirror what they said. And so all I do is, you want your kid in another school district? And then just sit there. And then they're like, oh, yeah. And then my husband's family lives up there. Oh, your husband's family lives up there. And then just sit there. And they're like, yeah. And finally, the conversation, the sentence kind of stopped. And I said, so tell me, are you living with your family? Or are you like building next to them? Like, what does that look like? And they're like, oh, well, we're actually going to be living with my parents, my brother, my husband's parents. Now, guys, here's where it gets good. I always do this. Assume the best, they'll tell you the rest. What do I mean by that? It's this. If I want to ask Jerry Norton, Jerry, how much money do you make? He'd be like, bro, none of your business. Like, that's a dumb question to ask Jerry Norton. That's a dumb question to ask many people. But what if I said to Jerry, I said, dude, Jerry, Every time I look at you, you look sharp, you look great, you have a huge smile on your face, you just exude success. You must make like $5 million a year. And he's going to be like, Cody, I wish I made $5 million a year. I actually make $1.2 million a year. Now, guys, I don't know what his income is, by the way. But my point is this. There's two ways of going about that. I could have said, Jerry, how much money do you make? Or assume the best and let him tell me the rest.
Yeah.
I did this scenario with this individual. I said, oh, you're moving in with your mom and dad. You must be moving in with them. Like I can say, why are you moving in with them? No, that's the same as how much money do you make? Yeah. Why are you moving in with them? Too pushy. But what if I assume the best? You're probably moving in with them because up there, they're having a lot of homes being built and you probably have a nice big home being built for you. And she's like, I wish that was the case, Cody. We're moving in with my parents because my husband lost his job. Boom. Yeah. I know the motivation's there. I'm booking the appointment. I don't care about the price. I'm booking the appointment because I just found out the real reason behind why they're selling their home. Yeah. Jerry, what's your favorite questions?
Let me add on to that if I can, Cody. So one of the things that commonly happens very regularly is you find out that there's not really a high level of motivation or there's not a high level of distress. Now, what do? I mean, they're still responding, like they answered your postcard or they talked to your cold caller and here you are on the phone with them, however you got to this point. So there is some level of interest. Maybe they're just, kicking around to see what's the going rate. But one of the qualifying questions that I like to ask that really kind of draws out, if I just don't feel like there's the right motivation to get a deal done, is I'll say to them, why aren't you listing this property for sale with a real estate agent? Why aren't you doing that? Why isn't that a choice you're considering right now? Or I'll ask, are you considering listing this property with a real estate agent? And what I found by asking that question, Cody, is now you pry a little bit more because there's a reason why they're talking to you and not an agent. There's a reason. And that reason often is uncovering the motivation. Yeah. And it could be they don't want to pay commissions. It could be they're embarrassed that their neighbors are going to see their house. It could be that it's so messy that they don't want to clean it up. It could be that they know it's not going to pass a mortgage inspection. It could be all these reasons why they're not. But it's another way of kind of like what you're doing, a non-threatening way to kind of get them to draw out a little bit more about what's going on. And I only ask that question if I feel like, oh, well, we would just like to move, we'd like to move a couple miles closer to work. Well, there's no distress. There's not really a motivation there. They're probably not going to fire sale the property or want a quick cash offer, but maybe what else is that a cover up? Is there something else going on?
That's right.
So then that question seems to work really well for me to then have them say, well, actually the reason why is, and then now you start to find out more reasons why they're not doing that. Because most people, if the motivation's not there, they go retail. They'll find an agent, they'll list retail, and they'll sell that way. So the fact that that's not happening and you're on the phone with them means there's something else going on.
That's right. That's right. If they're calling on a 38-cent postcard, guys, we all know 50 realtors. We do.
I look at it like I'm not doing a good job of doing what Cody just explained, which is really find out what's going on here. I haven't done a good job of that. And that's why their guard's still up. I mean, you got to remember, when you get on the phone with a seller, there's a wall up.
There it is.
You're here to rip me off. I got to play my cards carefully here.
Yep.
So they hold everything tight. And so your job is to bring the guard down, help them feel safe and comfortable. And like what Cody was sharing, it's all about the positioning, the way you ask the questions. It's not so much the question, it's the way you ask it, how you position that to get them to open up to you and share with you what's really going on. So, that's another way to kind of do that.
That's solid, Jerry. That's solid. And if your heart's in this, guys, for the right reason, to genuinely serve people, leave them in a better place. If you're genuinely in this to help people and you're not here to scam people or you just care about the money, if you are, you just won't last long. But if you are genuinely here to serve people, go, for example, Utah Sell Now. That's my wholesaling business. If you just type in Utah Sell Now, not as a website, but just Utah Sell Now LLC, you'll see over 100 5-star reviews from people. If you go to the website, you'll see, I don't know how many videos are now in there where people are willing to leave video testimonials because they loved how well we serve them. This plays to our benefit because our heart is to be customer minded and genuinely put them in a better place because of the solution that we bring to the table, and it puts them in a better place. They are like ranting and raving and love to leave those reviews because there is kind of a bad rap on some people how they do things. I have an individual here in Utah. I feel like I owe him like a $10,000 bonus every year because my guys go on the appointment and they're like, oh, this so-and-so person was here. And they said, you have 3 minutes to sign or I walk. And I said, walk. And we come right in after the appointment and they go right with us because they had such a horrible experience with this individual that I'm almost like, gosh, this lady is my MVP. Like she sets us up for these slam dunks all the time because of how poor she treats people.
Yeah.
And I want you to understand that. Be in the game for the right reason. Be in the game to serve people and be willing to serve people even if you're not the option. I end every one of my phone calls. My team is trained to end every one of their phone calls like this. Hey, Jerry, I'm going to be out to your place Tuesday at 4 p.m. And hopefully we can put something together that makes sense. Hopefully this works for you and it works for me. But guess what, Jerry? If it ends up not being a fit, I'm still going to sit there with you and I'm going to point you in the right direction. I'm pretty sure we can find something out, regardless if it's me or not. Now, why do I do that? I do that because I want them to mentally take all the postcards in their hand and rip them up. Like, they don't want 20 investors in their home. Let's be honest. No one wants 20 investors walking through their house. They don't want strangers walking in their house. So if you can build the rapport to where they just feel comfortable and confident knowing that either Cody's buying my house or he's going to help me and point me in the right direction of what I should do to sell my house.
I can't tell you.
Crucial.
I can't tell you how many times, Cody, I've had a seller talk to multiple investors and go with me, and my price was lower.
100%.
And they go with me because people do business with people they like and trust. And that's more important ever than price. And if they feel like you're trying to do good, if they feel like you're being transparent and honest, then they're gonna like you and trust you way more. So that's why I make it part of my strategy with private sellers is to give them the full understanding of what they could do with their property, all the way to get retail, top retail, what I would do to it, down to a cash offer where you just get to walk away as is, no hassle closing, right? I give them the whole picture because I know that they're going to respect me for being honest.
Yeah.
And I'm treating them like they're a person and that they're smart and that they can do their own due diligence and that they can get every bit of what they want out of that home, if they're willing to do certain things. And then 9 times out of 10, maybe not 9 times out of 10, but when it really gets down to it, they're going to feel so much more confident in me than that conversation they had with the other wholesaler who told them, there's no way your house is worth that. You'll never get that. You'll be lucky if you can walk out of here with 110 when really they could probably get more if they did other thing, like just that kind of hustle them. They feel that, they know they're being treated unfairly, even if they can't put their finger on it. Right. And so you don't want to be any part of that type of person. Every industry has them. They're in wholesaling. You want to be the one that they say, you know what, out of the 4 people I talk to, I feel the most comfortable with Cody.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to do me right. I feel like he's being honest and fair. And I feel like we're going to get to a closing, like I can trust him.
Yeah.
And so then that changes the entire dynamic of your business.
100%. And guys, I had this question. Will this video be saved? Yes, it lives on forever. So where the platform you're watching it on, it will be in there forever. I had another question that said, where can I get the scripts? And it is that link right there that's scrolling across the bottom. So just go to goref.com/live. And then every link is in there for these scripts so that you can start having killer conversations. Guys, I can't say this enough or stress this enough. The ones that have the most conversations get the most deals. Was it Arnold Palmer? I'm probably going to botch this a little bit, but Arnold Palmer basically said, the more I practice, the luckier I get. Like, At the end of the day, guys, there's no such thing as luck. Call it luck or just call it action. The one that takes the most action, the ones that have the most conversations is going to win. And that's just the nature of the beast. Be the one that now that you have access to literally the best scripts out there. These are scripts that I've been coaching on now since August of 16. And Jerry's been coaching on them a lot longer than I have. Guys, you have literally the best scripts in your hands, access to the best scripts, but those scripts are only as good as you act upon them. Take time to learn them, go through them, read them, practice on your spouse, practice on your boyfriend, your girlfriend, practice with your kids, practice with your parents. For those that are, I saw one on here, Jerry, that said, I'm 14. I'm like, God bless America. This is amazing. 14 years old. But guys, practice. My number one cold caller came to the office to drive for dollars. And then he would sit in our Tuesday meetings and he's like, hey, I want to be cold caller. He did it for like a day. And guys, when I say this was awful, he was awful. Like it was so painful. It was so painful. I'm like, we can't have him do this. So we pulled him after like 2 days, right? Sorry, man, you can drive for dollars or you don't have a job. Like we can't have you on the phones. And guess what? This guy comes back after 4 months just driving for dollars religiously for us every week. 4 months, we're sitting in our Tuesday meeting and we did like a mock training. He says, hey guys, do you mind if I do the mock cold call? And we're like, sure, let's see it. This guy sounded incredible. Now here's the Hine story, the backstory. He almost lost all of his friends and family because he practiced with them every day religiously. And they're like, dude, Matt, I love you, man, but you can't practice this with me. Like you've done this 52 times with me. And the mom's like, dude, you know I love you, son. I love you with all my heart, but I can't do this every day with you. You sound great. And his wife's like, listen, this is it. We're done. We can't do this practice anymore. He did it relentlessly, religiously. He's now our number one cold caller, guys. I want you to understand what's happened. It came from being literally the worst person I've heard on the phone. I would have rather had a robot to now our best cold caller because he took action. So you have to fix your hands, but it's going to take a lot of action.
By the way, Cody, as we wrap up here, I saw a question that was asking about if we're going to do this again. So, if you guys that are still here with us, we've been going for about an hour and a half almost. If you'd like to see this be a regular thing or where we get on live like this, even do more Q&A or other specific things about going live like this, leave a comment, let us know. We really want to see that feedback. I'm super busy. Cody's super busy. We got families and businesses and a lot of things going on. But if this is something that really is beneficial, adds a lot of value, we will consider, making this a regular thing. So
yeah, let us put in the comments so we know exactly that it's tied to this. Say, I want more. If you can put that in the comment and we can see that you guys want this, we'll strategize and see how we can make that a reality.
Yep, love it. And one other thing is we didn't get to everybody's questions, obviously. So we'll do, I'll do my best to go back through this because I think, will those questions be there in the comments?
Yeah.
Okay, so they'll
be, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, you'll see it in your comment screen, and you'll see this. So, guys, I see Josh Williams in there. Big shout out. This guy's another Utah guy from Vegas. I'm down. So he wants more, Jerry. In fact, if I put a side-by-side picture of you two, the moment I met you, my wife's like, man, that looks like Josh Williams. But guys, we're getting some great feedback here. You guys had fantastic questions. We really will probably have some more open-ended Q&A where it's not so directed and tied to just conversations. There was a lot of great questions in here. We didn't want to kind of go way out in the weeds, but I think there could be some platforms where it could be like free for all that could be beneficial. So don't let it scare you that we won't do that. There was a lot of questions here, but we wanted to keep it as direct as possible to give as much value. And let me end with this. And Jerry, you put in your 2 cents as well. Let me end with this. Guys, December ends up being, and we're already almost halfway through, but December ends up being our number 1, 2, or 3 best months in the whole entire year. And too many times, and I had the question at the very, very top, someone said, should we during the holidays take the break? Guys, you cannot grow a business with your foot on the gas. with your foot on the brake. You've got to have your foot on the gas at all times. And our natural mind will tell us that people aren't dealing with homes right now. People aren't selling homes right now because it's the holidays. And that's not true. That's probably the biggest lie out there. And I want you to break that from your mindset, because December ends up being our top 3 months every year since I've been doing this since 2015. Step on the gas. Keep your marketing going. Keep having conversations. And better off, if you do not keep marketing during December, Q1 or your first quarter, January, February, March, is going to be atrocious. It's going to be hard. You have to market. You're going to get deals in December, but more importantly, if you market now, you're going to get deals in January, February, and March that you wouldn't have gotten if you put your foot on the brake right now. Do not put your foot on the brake. Step on the gas. Keep marketing. Do not sleep. That's what the lazy investors do. But the ones that are out there killing it are marketing right now. Do not step on the brake. There's my food for thought to end. Jerry, take it away.
Yeah, I would add to that by saying, acquisitions, which is what wholesaling is, essentially acquisitions, right? Is you turn that faucet on and you never turn it off. I mean, when COVID happened, I saw there was that window of time where everybody was like deer in the headlights, like what the heck is going on? I remember, having a day or two where it was just like, staring at the news, like what does this mean? Panic, right? But I took a strategic decision right from the get-go to say, I'm going in even more. I'm going to step up to the plate even more, because I know there's going to be a lot of people that go to the sidelines right now and they're going to wait and see what happens, which means there's a huge opportunity to now gain market share, to get even better deals. And so I treat the whole year that way. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas or Thanksgiving or COVID or any of that crap. Don't pay any attention to that. Do like Cody said, put your gas on this thing and give it your all and go for it. Like just buckle down and go for it. I don't care if it's Christmas, because here's the thing. People are looking for money for Christmas. So they're going to be right now motivated to sell. If you can't close by Christmas, that's fine. You'll close in the new year, right? So when's the best time? Right now is the best time. And if I could just add one more thing, this is more of a kind of a philosophy or an overarching mindset. But Cody, I kind of look at the business, and we tend to talk a lot about the money. I mean, I do constantly, like, here's how much money you can make, and here's how to do the formula where you get your net profit and all these things that are all very specific to the money. But really, at the end of the day, it's not about the money. For me anyway, it's not about the money. It's about the time and freedom to have, be, do, and give everything that really matters in life. That's not about business. That's not about money. The things that really matter, your spirituality, your health, your family, your relationships, those things. It's really about that. So, you guys that are really focusing on building this business, if you can come into the business with the mindset of wholesaling is it's a means to an end, which is blessing others' lives, blessing my family's lives, giving back in a big way, and really put that as the forefront of your focus, then my experience has been that not only will you transform your life and your family's life, but you'll bless a lot of other people on the way throughout that journey. And I think that's why I'm here. That's what gets me up and excited to go do the business every single day, is the bigger picture of what this can do in my life and in my family's life and in others' lives.
Love it. Love it. Jerry, thank you for putting a perfect ribbon on the present right there. You package that up well. Guys, get into it for the right mindset. Get into it for serving people. Don't look at the money. The money follows those that serve. So I couldn't say any better than Jerry just said it. But more importantly, your family, if they truly mean the best to you and the most to you, like it is for me and Jerry, I truly believe there's no better way out there to have more time with your family than wholesaling. I believe it's the most wholesome way to make a fortune. And
thank you for your heart of gold too, Cody. Hey, everybody, leave a comment and say, Cody, you are a flipping genius.
Awesome. Guys, same thing. All those that are on here from my links, reach out, follow Jerry. Again, you've seen it in many of these things that I posted that have been popped up. His videos are incredible. This guy has an incredible following, and he's been serving the YouTube community for a long time and is probably one of the best out there. So guys, we appreciate you. We're grateful for you. God bless you guys. Have an incredible time during this time. I want you to think of your family, think of ways to serve them, and then think of ways to get creative. If you're broke, I want you to not tell yourself you're broke and just be a good steward of what you already have. Enjoy the holidays. And we love seeing what we're seeing. Cody, you're a flipping genius. I love it. Thank you. You guys, thank you so much. God bless you guys. And looks like, Jerry, we're going to have to start doing this again. There was a lot of wanting more.
More. Okay.
Okay, brother. Take care, guys. See you later.